Hi everyone, this is me again, your teacher Russell. In this video, what I'm going to teach you is about conditional sentences. Again, this is a part of my grade 8 students lesson, but I'm giving you this lesson because I also want to share this with every other students. So let's talk about conditional sentences. First, what is conditional sentences? Conditional sentences are statements discussing known factors or hypothetical situations and their consequences. When we say hypothetical situations, something might happen or something may not happen depending on the cause. Complete conditional sentences contains a conditional clause. It is often referred to as if clause, and the consequence, of course. Consider the following sentences as an example. First example, I would travel around the world if I won the lottery. What is that? That is something hypothetical because it will only happen if he or she will win the lottery. Got it? Another example. When water reaches 100 degrees, it boils. What does it mean? It is known or it is considered a known factor because it is absolutely true. When you boil the water, when it reaches 100 degrees, absolutely it will reach to a boiling point, right? So conditional sentences are like that. Another things that we're going to discuss are the types, the different types of conditional sentences. Okay, there are four, okay? There are four different types of conditional sentences in English. So each of them expresses a different degree of probability. So like I said a while ago, it is hypothetical. There is a probability that it will happen. There's a probability that it will not happen depending on your if clause. So let's take a look at each of the different types of conditional sentences in more detail. So how to use zero conditional sentences. Zero conditional sentences expresses general truth. When you use zero conditional, you're talking about a general truth rather than a specific instance or something. Let's take a look at the following example. If you don't brush your teeth, you get cavities. Well, that's a general truth. Nobody can say you will not get cavities if you don't brush your teeth because 100% sure you'll definitely get cavities if you don't brush your teeth. Okay, so next example. When people smoke cigarettes, their health suffers. Who can question that? Nobody can question that. That's a general truth. Again, many people know it. Everybody knows it. That's why it's called general truth. When you smoke, your health will definitely suffer. So that is zero conditional. When using the zero conditional, the correct tense to use in both clauses is the simple present tense. Simple present tense. A common mistake is to use the simple future tense, which is not. Because again, it is a general truth. You always use the present tense of the verb. I'll give you one incorrect example. Incorrect, okay? When people smoke cigarettes, their health will suffer. Take note of the word will. Okay, will. Will is in the future tense. So again, according to the rule, we do not use the future tense of the verb. So please remove the word will. Just use the simple present tense, suffers. That is the rule. Secondly, notice that the words if and when, as the if clause, okay, can be used interchangeably in these zero conditional sentences. This is because the outcome will always be the same. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you use if or when because it will definitely happen. It absolutely happens. And that's a present tense. So you can use if or you can use when interchangeably. Got it? I hope you do. So next, how to use the first conditional sentences. We are now in the second type, okay? Again, the first one is zero conditional. This is now the second type of conditional sentences, which is again the first conditional. First conditional sentences are used to express situations in which the outcome is likely but not guaranteed to happen in the future. Okay, guaranteed, not guaranteed, there is a probability, but it is not guaranteed. Example, if you rest, you will feel better. Another example, if you set your mind to a goal, you'll eventually achieve it. Okay, let's go back to the first example. If you rest, you will feel better. Is there an assurance that if you rest, you will feel better? There is a probability, a big probability, but you're not absolute that you will feel better. Unlike in zero conditional, it is absolutely going to happen. But here, the probability is big, but then again, there is a probability that something will not happen. Examine some of the common mistakes people make using the first conditional. If you will rest, you will feel better. So in the first if clause, we avoid using the future tense. Keep it in the present tense. Instead of saying, if you will rest, you will feel better, you better say, if you rest, which is in the simple present tense, you will feel better. Okay, so that's the rule. In the zero conditional, it is always present tense, but here in the first conditional, present tense in the if clause, and the next clause will be in the future tense. Simple future tense. Alright, now let us move on to the second, but the third type of conditional sentences. So here's the second conditional sentences. Second conditional sentences are useful for expressing outcomes that are completely unrealistic or will not likely to happen in the future. Consider the examples below. If I inherited $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. Well, let's analyze the example. Notice that the correct way to structure the second conditional sentences is to use a simple past tense. Now we're talking about past tense in the if clause. And an auxiliary verb or a modal, which is could, should, would, and might in the main clause. It is the one that expresses the unrealistic or unlikely outcome. The correct pattern would be this one. If I inherited $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. See, the word inherited is now in the past tense. Inherit becomes inherited. Are you getting it? When applying the second conditional, use the simple past tense in the if clause and the could or the modals could, would, should, and might in the main clause or the next sentence. The sentence is, if I owned a zoo, I might let people interact with the animals more. See, owned a zoo in the past tense, and then you use a modal after the if clause, which is might. There is a probability, a big chance of probability that it will not happen. If in the first conditional, there is a big probability that it will happen, again, in the second conditional, there's a big probability that it will not happen. Hope you get the difference. And the last one, how do we use the third conditional sentences? Third conditional sentences are used to explain that present circumstances would be different if something different had happened in the past. Let's take a look at the following examples. Example number 1. If you had told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier as well. So it explains that if something different happened, that person could have done something different as well. And that is again the third conditional. Alright, this sentence expressed a condition that was likely enough but did not actually happen in the past. The speaker in the sentence was capable of leaving early. See? But he did not, or he or she did not leave early because he or she did not know that somebody needed a ride. You got it? Okay. Take note, when using the third conditional, we use the past perfect. Past perfect tense. Example, had, and then the past participle. We use that in the if clause. Also, the modal auxiliary, for example, again, would, could, should, might. We use have plus the past participle in the main clause. Consider these common mistakes when applying the third conditional. So here again, I'm providing with you incorrect pattern or incorrect structure. The other one is the correct one. Let's start with the incorrect sentence. If you would have told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier. And here's the correct one. If you had told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier. See, in the first sentence we used would have, which is the incorrect pattern. But in the correct sentence we use the past participle had told. Had plus the past tense of the verb. That is the past participle. Alright? So with the third conditional sentences, do not use a modal auxiliary verb in the if clause. That's the standard rule. Alright, I guess that's it for this lesson. And again, let's take a look at review. We have studied conditional sentences for today. And there are 4 types of conditional sentences. And again, those are the zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and the last one is the third conditional. I hope you learned something, but if you couldn't really remember all the rules, please go back and watch this video again, and so you will be able to know the pattern. The structure is very simple, and I hope you can learn it and you can use it correctly when making sentences as well. So that's it for this video. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, share my videos with your friends, and with whoever you want to share it, but please support my channel. Thank you once again for watching and have a great day. Goodbye!